Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. So just as like a disclaimer, I have had this video filmed since the middle of March. I'm currently recording this April 24th, and who knows when the video will actually go up. So that's the timeline of events for you. I decided that I was just going to do kind of like a Q&A, except no one's asking me questions. So I just searched questions for artists and a lot of them were about interviewing artists, but I found one where someone who does an art blog had taken a YouTube artist tag and just did it in blog form. I'm not actually that active on the ArtTube community. I don't really watch much, so I never really saw this tag happening. I decided that since I'm definitely gonna have multiple videos for this like little print with me series while I'm working on my final project for my print media class, that I would just answer the questions in like groups of 5. Question 1 is, what's your favorite experience as an artist? So for me, my favorite experience has to be whenever I finish a piece and I look at it and I'm like, dang, I did good. Like, yeah, it's a really great experience when you finish your piece and you're like, wow, that looks good. I like this. Like, I'm proud of this. Because it's one thing when you have your friends and family like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you drew this. How did you draw this? You're so good. Which is like really sweet, but it's like, it's less meaningful when they've been saying the same thing your entire life. And your old drawings look terrible, like objectively terrible. I wasn't a child prodigy in the least bit. So like it's different. Like, it feels nice, but also it's the best when you look at it and you're like, this is good. I am proud of this. Which, of course, I was proud of things that I made when I was younger, too. But I feel like it's different. It's like the gap in your growth as an artist. So you start out and like your taste and what you like and your skill are pretty similar, but quickly your taste grows so much quicker than your skill grows. So there's this big gap because you're like, wow, my art sucks compared to the things that you like and that you're aspiring to make. So there's like this really big gap in your art career, in your art experience, and arguably that continues to happen your entire career. Like, you might close the gap and open the gap up again and close it and open it, because I mean, it's all about your growth as an artist. So when you're finally able to be like, hey, this level of my skill matches something I would like to see, like, that's just a great feeling, and that's definitely like top tier experience. Okay, question numero dos. What's your least favorite experience as an artist? So, I really don't know. I didn't plan answers out for these guys. Like, I thought about writing the answers down, or like a general answer, and I didn't. One thing that is definitely my least favorite is that, like, and this is very personal to me, like, I don't think a lot of people can relate, maybe, I don't know. I am not that big of a fan of a lot of, like, modern art, and I am currently in a contemporary art history class, and in general, I just don't care about art history. Like, there's a very small window of art that I look at and go, this stuff's good, because I've taken art history surveys 1 and 2, which are everything leading up to, like, the late 1800s, like your 1850s to now is when your contemporary art history starts to shape, but before then it's art history surveys 1 and 2. 1 is the most boring thing in the entire world, and then survey 2 you get into less architecture, still a lot, because humans were still learning how to build things, and we were simultaneously building same things in different parts of the planet without knowing that other people were building them too. And it just gets kind of complicated because you're like, who made it? And it's like, yes. But also the thing is that a lot of your survey too, at least I think, I could be getting these mixed up because for all I care, I don't care. And so you're getting into like Greek, Egyptian, Roman, yeah, because literally, if it's not Western art, it like doesn't exist in art history. Like, I hate it so much. Like, if I could learn about any art history topic, it would be like Japanese printmaking. They had such an interesting like honestly, just most like East Asian art I find very interesting because their idea of art is not as centered as your European like Western art is centered on like realism and making it look real up until, recently, of course. But in your East Asian cultures and societies, they didn't place as much emphasis on realism. They had distinct art styles and ways of doing things, and it's just completely different, and I just want to learn about it. Like, someone get me an art history course in that, because that is what I would like to learn about, not stupid But so my least favorite experience summed up as an artist is one, having to take these art history courses, but furthermore, not just having to take them, but like feeling like a fake artist because you don't know things. Like, I don't know much about anything in art history, and it's kind of bad because like I don't know things and I don't know a lot of artists, and I will admit to being a basic artist girl. My favorite artist is Van Gogh. So but like the period of art that I like the most is like that Van Gogh period, your Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, and then kind of some abstract expressionism, but that's really like a hit or miss with that, because some of it's like really interesting compositions and colors and all this, and then some of it is just not it. So yeah, but definitely least favorite experiences feeling like you're a fake artist because you don't care about art history, which partially is my problem, and I do care about some aspects of art history, and I think I'd find it much more interesting if the art history canon was not white cis-het males. To be fair, it changes a lot more as you start to get into like 20th century, but even then there's so many men, and you don't really start getting into women until you get to the performance art, and then it just turns into naked women, like literally naked women, not painted naked women, naked women. And I don't really like performance art either, not like that. Like, that's just not it. So yeah, I don't even know if that's a good experience, like least favorite experience, but yeah. Also, anytime someone tells you, really, you're gonna be an artist? So, but I think that's like everyone's least favorite experience as an artist, is when they're like, you're gonna be an artist? I don't think so. That's stupid. Okay, question 3. What are your dreams/goals for your art? So, I feel like for me this is very hard to answer just in terms of my visual fine art, because I am also an actress and a writer. So it's very hard to separate all the things because they intertwine in different ways. So point blank for art, I do have an answer for that, so I will give that first. But that is that I would like to contribute to like conservation campaigns for like the ocean, so like ocean conservation and stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind doing just, like overall worldwide environment conservation. But in case you haven't noticed, I like ocean. So that's definitely like the focus I'd like to have, and then also just working in the ocean marine field, because fun fact, I used to want to be a marine biologist. It was a very passionate interest of mine. And then I learned how much math you have to take to become a marine biologist. And I was like, heck no. And see, I could put up with the math that I'd have to use in the field. Like, I could learn the marine biology math. But you have to take so many other maths, because math and science go together. So instead, I've just decided that I will pursue science in an art form, if that makes sense. And then another thing I really want to do, this has been like, because I have always, like, writing was probably my first love, like, first dream job. I wanted to be a writer / marine biologist, so that's an interesting combination for you folks out there. But so I've always wanted to be a writer, a published author, so I really want to not only, like, publish a story, a book, but I want to do, like, kind of an illustrated thing, not necessarily like a full-on, like, illustrated book, like a comic book or a manga or like a children's book, but just like spicing it up with some illustrations along the way of, like, characters and scenes and moods and stuff. And also, I really do want to do one day your stereotypical poetry book that has illustrations in it, except it wouldn't be like Tumblr / Instagram poetry. It would be, like, actually good poetry. I mean, not to say that Instagram poetry is bad, but, like, you know what I mean, like, I don't want to say higher quality, but, like, that's what I mean, like, your higher quality poeticness. So, yeah. And then also just, like, acting in general. I would really love to do something regional. I haven't looked into it much because honestly I'm just kind of scared that I'm not going to find anything, but I'd really like to work in, like, a regional company or even just, like, community theater. I would really love one day also to kind of, like, create my own play, like, from the script to the scenes, and by scenes I mean, like, scenic design, sorry, brain no worky, but I definitely love to do that one day. And I always think back to Trina Vegas's one-woman show, Chicago, and while, yes, I could 100% see myself doing something like that, I think it would be much better if I also had other people in it and it wasn't just a one-woman show, one-woman director, one-woman team. That would not be very good. But yeah, so those are some sums up of overall goals for my art. As you see, they kind of just all, like, intertwine. There's, like, specific things for each. Like, I would really love to one day do, like, a legitimate, like, paid acting gig, like, somewhere big where it's not just, your grandma coming to see. I don't really know more about what that entails yet. That's just, like, a thought. Or I'd love to do, like, children's theater because I love kids, but also I hate kids. Like, it's a very difficult balance to find because some kids are so sweet and I love those sweet kids. And then you get those kids that are like demons. I don't like those kids. But see, if you're in children's theater and you're performing for kids, it doesn't matter what kind of kids they are. Pregunta 4. What's your favorite medium and why? So this is a very easy answer for me. I say that like I'm not about to have a really long explanation, but it is very easy. However, it is not a singular medium. It is mediums. But yeah. So first we have painting. Specifically, I do prefer watercolors and gouache, except I also am very much aware that I don't actually have much experience with traditional true watercolors. Like, I use Derwent ink tints. which is watercolor, but it's not, because it's more like an ink, but it doesn't quite behave like an ink. It's more like a watercolor, but it also doesn't behave completely like a watercolor. It's very confusing, and actual watercolors can be a bit more difficult, to say the least. But yeah, definitely watercolor, and then gouache, acrylics too. And I haven't done much with oil, but it is nice. It's just, even with the water-based oils that I have that clean up with water, it's still just like a big hassle, and it smells so much. But then, so we have painting, then we have like graphite, kind of sketching, more of your like drawing. And I was very disappointed when I found out like graphite drawing was not a concentration I could do in art, because that is just like what I love. And they're like, I went to like an open house for UNC Charlotte, and they were like, what concentration do you want to do? And I'm like, drawing. And they're like, yeah, but like what concentration? Because like there isn't just like one for like graphite and sketching and like that kind of work. Like that's the foundation for other things, but like there's nothing just for that, which is kind of a letdown. But yeah, graphite can be really fun, and you can get some really cool stuff with graphite. I need to work with graphite more. You really can get some cool stuff. Okay, and then last medium that I really enjoy is printmaking, which feels like a weird medium because it's like a title for a type of art. I don't know, but printmaking, which is what you're seeing in this video. Woo! And I really like printmaking specifically because like you're not quite as limited in what you do. Like, of course, in painting you have a lot of like collages and mixed media. Like, mixed media is not exclusive to printmaking at all, but it is, I feel like it's more of the standard in printmaking. Like, you are generally encouraged to add hand details after you've printed something, or to use this and to use that. Like, it's more, that is the standard. It isn't just, hey, let's do a mixed media project. It's, here's our printmaking project. It is mixed media, if that makes sense. So I really like mixing the three things together, mostly painting and printmaking, because graphite, it's a lot harder to like not mess up, because graphite smears, and even when you use like the spray to make it not smear, it still smears. Pregunta 5, numero 5. We have, what inspired you to do art / why do you love it? Buckle in, buckaroos. I don't know why I said that. Okay, but I feel like that is such like, I think you could separate that into 2 questions instead of combining them, because the answers are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Yeah, okay, so I'll just answer it. Well, whatever. Okay, so what inspired me? I don't, honestly, like, nothing really inspired me at first. Like, I didn't like have this aha. I mean, I did. Okay, let's back it up. So I have always been a very creative person. As my famous 3-year-old self said, I decorate. So I've always been a very, my leg's getting sore from sitting. Okay. So I have always been a very creative person. I mean, I grew up writing. I always drew, just sucked, but I always drew, and I always liked to perform. So I've always been very creative, at least from my recollections and stories I haven't told, because my memory sucks. It's just like my existence is a creative being. Like, I'm not a human being, I'm a creative being. Ha 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 ha. So like there wasn't really anything that just like inspired me to do art. Like little baby Zoe came out of the womb and said, let's decorate. And I haven't stopped since. Although I guess it's very hard to apply I decorate to writing and acting, but you know what? I decorate the computer screen with the letters, and I decorate the stage with my presence. Yeah. So, like, there was never, like, really an inspired moment where I was like, oh, and, like, a light bulb came over my head. Like, that didn't happen. Like, I just always made art. And, I mean, there were moments, there's definitely moments, later, like in high school, towards the end, where I was like, oh, I have to decide what I want to do now, ha ha ha. Like, I mean, really, like, I always drew and made art, and of course it sucked for the longest time, and it still was kind of really sucky when I was like, you know what, I'm not that bad at this thing, maybe I could go to college for art. I still kind of sucked then. Like, I had some good things that I still can look at and be like, you know what, that's pretty good. Not the greatest, but that's decent. It's alright. It's alright, guys. So it wasn't like I just, like, looked down and had this amazing piece of artwork in front of me and went, wow, I'm meant to do this. Oh. Like, there's nothing like that. Like, I just was kind of like, you know what, I like making art. So, yeah, there wasn't, like, an inspiring moment. Like, do people have that? Like, an actual, like, something that inspired them? Like, did they see something and go, wow, I love this? Like, I don't know. I didn't have that moment. Like, I was just like, I came out of the womb and I said, I took a weight and I haven't stopped. So, and I can answer, I feel like, why do you love it? I can answer that part of the question more easily because, like, I just, like, it's a good feeling, like, sitting down and drawing. But, like, my personal style really leans into, like, Van Gogh, but a bit more realistic. Like, some of his earlier stuff, particularly, like, the skull with the cigarette. I literally think that's what that's called. I like to look at it and go, this is a skull, it is a good skull. But this is also a skull that has stylistic choices and brush strokes. And then also just, like, I love being on stage. Like, I love looking at pictures of myself from performances, especially, like, your bows. Like, you can just see the joy on my face. And then also, like, writing, I just always have loved writing. Like, I don't know how people actually have answers for these. I feel like my answer for what inspired you and why do you love it, they're terrible. I don't have an answer. Like, do people have answers for these questions? Like, like I said, I'm not a human being. I'm a creative being. That's, like, gonna be my new life summary, honestly. Like, it feels so pretentious. And it feels so, like, terrible because, like, we're all human beings, blah, 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 blah. But putting that aside, like, so I hope you enjoyed this video, this little talk. I hope you maybe created something while I talked, or if not, you enjoyed what I was creating. And if you didn't enjoy what I was creating, at least you enjoyed my commentary completely unrelated to what I was creating. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. I hope you are happy and healthy, or somewhat content, or at least just, not feeling crappy right now. And if you are, go watch some vines or some, like, dog content and feel better. Bye, besties. Hello, this is new recording 51, so welcome to recording 51, guys. This is almost as top secret as Area 51. Dear Lord, where does this eyeball go on this freaking face? Where does it go? If you know that other people do or do not have answers to question number 5, like legitimate answers that make sense, that they can pinpoint, like answers, like if you know that they do or other people do not, like if you have insider information, please let me know, because I don't know.